Little Red Wolf, Chapter 9, Part 2. The darkness of the healing dose was like floating through empty space. Time was irrelevant. Nothing moved as the world slid by. The peaceful slumber of death was broken by a sudden lurch in her stomach. Here you go. Falon took hold of a bucket and began puking the bile from her stomach into it. There was far more than she was used to, and she remembered Asagi's lesson of amount equating time. Last time she had taken the potion, she had been out for 2 days. There was over twice the fluid this time, meaning... How long was I out? She croaked as she spit an acrid-tasting mouthful into the bucket. 7 days. Oh. More came up, and was properly aimed. It was her least favorite part of the healing potion. After a few moments she leaned back. Done. Good, Baba Hulda said as she walked across the hut, opened a window, and pitched the contents out. It was then that the young patient heard the sounds of wind and rain. Chew this. Ginger? Very good. Falon began to chew the ginger root, mixing her saliva with the tiny bits and sucking down the juice. Your friend came back and has hardly left your side. Falon sniffed the air. Over the smells of bile and ginger she detected a musky canine. Reaching out carefully, she touched warm fur. A gentle nuzzle was accompanied by a warm lick. He is very loyal. I believe him to be an appropriate companion for a Baba in training. The root settled the stomach, and the wolf settled the mind. It would have been the best recovery session ever if only the room would stop swaying. Are we moving? Yes, we are, child. How? A true Baba's hut can walk or fly, the witch told her. How? With legs or wings? That makes no sense, Falon said as she winced at a rogue ache in her back. Of course it does, child. It is just outside of your field of experience. This is why Babas in training must travel before fully initiating. Initiating? Yes, Baba Hulda told her. Our greatest secrets can only be passed to the fully initiated. You love being all mysterious, don't you? Falon grumbled. There is a certain satisfaction to be gained from it, Baba Hulda admitted. You should practice as you travel. Practice being mysterious? Yes. Have any tips? The young hunter asked as she tried to get more comfortable. Always listen and hold your tongue until you have something profound to say. Are you telling me to be seen and not heard? Almost. One can learn much when both quiet and unseen. I'd rather speak my mind and have others listen. As would I, Hulda agreed. That is why I listen before I speak. It allows my words to be more educated and precise. You really are just like Asagi, Falon commented with a shake of her head. Oh, thank you, dear. Can I take this bandage off now? As you wish. Falon quickly began to fumble with the linen, but Baba Hulda's weathered hands came to aid her. The hunter tried to relax as the healer worked, but the young body was beginning to fill with the need to move. Once the linen was unwrapped, a rush of cold struck her eyelids. She sat and waited for the sting to subside, then broke the eye mucus seal, letting the light in. Mercifully, the candles had been snuffed and the fireplace was smoldering. The fuzzy world tipped back and forth in time with the deep pounding of oversized feet. How does the world look, dear? Blurry. Good. Are you thirsty? Yes. Then come towards the light and sit at my table, the old woman said as she lit a single candle. When you are ready, I have a roast I have been marinating since your arrival. Could you please get the bread out of the oven, dear? Baba Hulda asked some time after the head wrap came off. The sharp old woman had been weaving together what looked like a deep red blanket for what seemed like days. Her thin frame hunched forward over her work as a knotted shillelagh leaned nearby. Wizened hazel eyes looked down a proper witch's nose at the finer details of her work. Despite Falon's prideful annoyance at being domestic, she was surprised to discover tasks like baking bread and beating the feather bed until the down fluttered like snow worked the kinks out of her joints and muscles. She never seemed to know what time it was, but her vision was sharpening and her strength was returning. Her wolf slept as if a spell were upon him. He did not eat or go out to relieve himself. He just lay on the floor, breathing deeply. It was not until Baba Hulda was putting the embroidery on her project that he opened his eyes and stretched. "Well," Falon said with a smirk, "it's good to see you're alive. I was beginning to think our hostess would be weaving your coat into a blanket soon." The wolf snorted and gave her a lick. She petted him and was amazed at how dog-like he reacted. Falon had always liked dogs as a child, and realized she might like to have one of her own. "It appears you have made a friend," the old woman teased as she pulled her needle through the fabric again and again. "Will you keep him?" "He's not a dog. He's a wolf." "Yes, but will you keep him?" "He's not mine to keep," Falon said. Disappointment was evident on her face. "He's wild and belongs in the greenwood. I'm blessed to have him here with me." "You should name him," Baba Hulda told her. But Falon scowled as she spoke. "Are you listening to me? I said he doesn't belong to me." "That does not mean you cannot name him." "What name could I possibly give such a magnificent creature?" "How about Fibra?" the old woman offered. "It means courage. Or maybe Fidelis? It means loyalty." "How about Ferris?" Falon asked, but her blue-eyed wolf snorted and laid his head on the floor. "No? Lunar?" Hulda offered. Too much like Luna." "Midnight?" "Please," the hunter scoffed. "I might as well get a cat and name it Shadow." "Well, what do you intend to name your blue-eyed wolf?" Falon stroked the black fur as she searched for a name. This had a calming effect on her body, and she felt as if the walls of her mind were falling away. Something about his texture and warmth consumed her attention. The strength in his muscles and the ferocity in his jaws created a natural hunter no mere human could match. But under the layers of power and savagery beat a noble heart. In that faithful rhythm slumbered a time-honored name that belonged to an ancient soul. Arthur. Arthur. The name escaped her lips without her intent, but it caused the sleek head to rise and look at her in the eyes. "Arthur," she repeated, and his tail wagged in response. "Arthur?" Baba Hulda repeated with a queer look. "That is not a proper dog's name." "Well, he's not a dog," Falon smiled. "He's a wolf, and I think he likes it. Don't you, Arthur?" The large black face leaned forward and licked hers. "Ha! That's a yes," the old woman cackled. "Arthur it is." As she said this, the whole building suddenly tilted forward. Falon felt her stomach lurch, then they settled to the ground. "Ah, we are here." Where is here?" Baba Hulda secured the end of her embroidery and held up a very well-constructed red cape with a hood on it. "This is for you," she said, handing over the crimson cloak that was finer than any Falon had ever seen. "This is for you," she said, handing over the crimson cloak that was finer than any Falon had ever owned. Baba? We have reached the home of Ursa and her family." Baba Hulda cut her off before she could protest. "Don't say it that way, though. Jero believes that he is the head of the family, and it is best to let him feel that way."